Hey there, fans of Brotherly Love Wrestling. It is I, Vic Delicious.
Philly's own, the Mecca here.
It is the real McCoy, J.D.X. Justin D. Xavier. And
it's your man, CD, the Fallen Angel, Christopher Daniels.
Hello, boys and girls. This is your old friend RJ City.
Hey there, Brotherly Love Wrestling. Bill Carr here.
Hey everyone, this is two-time guest Wheeler Yuta.
Two bozos from Philadelphia flapping their gums about pro wrestling this, pro wrestling that.
Which is not that unique in the grand scheme of things yet.
You are in for a treat because you're tuned in to Brotherly Love Wrestling.
Philadelphia, are you ready?
No! They said, are you ready?
This is Brotherly Love Wrestling Podcast, your first stop for everything professional wrestling. So sit back and enjoy wrestling talk at its finest with your hosts, Larry Hall and Joe Corrado.
Welcome, everybody, to Brotherly Love Wrestling. And as we continue our road to Raw 30, we are on the years 1998 to 2002. Like we said last week, the meat and potatoes of the Attitude Era. And Joe's doing all kinds of stuff on that side.
Practicing my weaponry. This is what happens when I come in via satellite.
So, like we said last week, this one was going to be packed with moments, all Attitude Era, obviously, because this is the end. I mean, this is the beginning and end, really, because it goes all the way to 2002. 2002's the Ruthless Aggression, so this is the Attitude Era episode for sure.
The Attitude Era episode. I don't even know if we've ever done this. I know we've touched on the Attitude Era.
I don't think we've gone this in depth in the Attitude Era.
We might touch on the Attitude Era,
and we'll say moments and reminisce on moments, but like this is a lot. And there is stuff I won't mention because like it was good, but I want to focus on like the major moments.
Yeah, you plop right down in the middle of the Monday Night War, and you're split. So the funny thing is that I've seen all the moments. I've lived through all the moments. Some not in live time, but I've lived through all the moments.
I think for everyone on this list, you've been live and watched live. From what I'm looking at, I think every one of them. I don't think there's one that you haven't sat and watched live.
Probably not. That was the fucked up thing, is that you don't have anything to tell you what's going on. You kind of just flip back and forth.
Yeah.
And that's what we did. We flipped. I mean, we landed on WCW for a longer duration, but we still flipped back and forth. Yeah. I don't want to, over the however many fucking episodes we're into now, we might be the longest running episodic podcast.
I'm not going to back up that claim, but it sounds pretty goddamn good.
Hold on. No Name Podcast. There you
go. Much better. Yes.
The longest running episodic No Name podcast.
Yes. Very true. Yeah.
It flows really well, too.
It does.
Right off the tip of the tongue.
Easy to market.
But I don't know if I've ever clarified that yes, I've flipped back and forth. Mm-hmm. Yeah, I do this because we know it.
That's what we used to do. Is do. Yeah.
What do we call it? The clicker.
Yes.
Pass the clicker. Mm-hmm. I'm going to say, I know who's going to get that out of who we know, but I'm curious to hear or find out how many people actually got that reference.
I think for people that listen to this show, as far as the statistics show, as far as who listens and downloads and all that, I think everyone who actually pays attention to our show will get that reference.
Well, that's good then. That was your pre-nostalgia nostalgia.
All right, so
that's all the show has been is nostalgia.
It's very true. We'll start off with, again, and this is going to be very repetitive of things we say, but as far as one of the top moments and Attitude Era moments, we're going to start off in January of 98. We left off in December of 97, so
very apropos of us to start off.
Yeah,
where
we don't.
left.
We really never do that. Like
We don't ever follow a timeline.
never. So Tyson and Austin, January 19th, 1998.
Dude, it was like the whole oh wait, let's see if we can bring celebrities. I mean, WWE always did the celebrity thing, so I can't say. I mean, from Ali to Mr. T, I mean, they've always done the celebrity thing, and quite frankly, they've always had the bigger name celebrities.
For the most part, yeah. Yep.
I'm going to say Tyson at the time, although Tyson's a cultural icon, but so was Rodman. Now, I don't think to the same extent, but I think that depends on who you ask. Honestly.
I think at that time, you have Tyson coming off the Holyfield fight where he bit his ear and he was suspended from boxing. And the baddest man on the planet. You know what I mean? I think that was bigger than Rodman. Because, look, don't get me wrong. Rodman, Chicago Bulls, Michael Jordan. Don't get me wrong. I'm not saying he's not big. He is.
Millions watch that.
Yes.
I mean, it's kind of split because millions watch the.
But this is one of the first weeks to where WWE beat WCW was when Tyson was on Monday Night Raw.
Tyson's a draw.
He is. And not only that.
So it's like the perfect storm.
You didn't know why Mike Tyson was there. That was the best part. It was, all right, Mike Tyson's coming. What are they going to announce? What is he going to do? And that glass shatters. And again, I don't like Jim Ross on AEW. I think he's tired and overdone. But that call,
he's probably legitimately tired. Like he's probably at this point legitimately just tired.
Excuse me.
You might be tired of him, but he's probably just plain tired.
But even not even watching it.
Time I stick up for JR. See?
Not even watching it, just thinking about it in my head. I hear Jim Ross say, Tyson is in Stone Cold's ring. Like that call rings through my head. Like, of course, that's the iconic business is about to pick up. Like that moment. And then the middle fingers, if you don't understand what I'm saying, I got a little sign language for you. And that brawl that happens and Vince leaning out of the ring and saying, you ruined it, damn it. Like you believed it was real. Like there's another one of those things a lot during this era. We're going to say it felt real. Like, holy shit, he fucked something up. Like this something was supposed to happen and he ruined it. Like it was great all around.
So what you get is like you're saying, it felt real. Like it felt real. It always felt real. Mm-hmm. Like there was bits and pieces that were like outlandish. Like, but for those parts, they felt real. And it was the Sports Entertainment World Wrestling Federation's toughest tough guy versus the realest real world actual tough guy.
Yeah.
And it was them two in the ring, and it's just like I got like the hairs on the side of my head. I almost wish it would actually happen. Like I would just, like somehow throw out completely.
So yeah, again, one of the bigger, most memorable Attitude Era moments, and because of the Monday Night War, and everyone switching and seeing that is up there as far as those moments.
That led to wasn't that Austin's first title win?
It was leading to Austin's first title win.
To it.
Yeah.
So I mean, you're talking about the hottest person in wrestling.
Mm-hmm.
Is Austin the hottest person in wrestling at this point in all of it?
98.
Is Goldberg? Goldberg was a flash in the pan, though. Austin lives forever. It's heroes get remembered, but legends never die.
Yes, yeah.
So the hero of WCW might have been Goldberg, but the legend is Stone Cold Steve Austin.
Very true.
Still talking about him to this day. Will forever be the greatest, maybe not the greatest in-ring performer, but the greatest overall persona in all of wrestling history. I will say that.
I agree.
I will say that he stuns Hogan, The Rock, Cena, Flair, all of them. San Martino, were you old fucks? As if Ric Flair wasn't old enough.
Yeah, I was gonna say that.
The only problem is Flair is still. He just had his last match 6 months ago, if not less.
Yeah.
So somehow he's still getting into a ring.
So there's a couple in between the next one. It's the DX special report to where they mock USA Network and
get almost canceled again.
Yeah, and they borrowing for the presidential speech, which was really funny and a great moment. Another one they have on here, very less but still really cool moment, is when the New Age Outlaws pushed Mick Foley and Chainsaw Charlie, aka Terry Funk, off of the stage in the dumpster, which is another one of those moments. It's a moment, but it's lesser, so we don't have to go into that. But the next one
pretty sure we're gonna have another DX moment that's gonna be a little bit greater than that one.
Oh, the next moment is the formation of the new D-Generation X, the night after WrestleMania, after Shawn Michaels loses to Stone Cold. Stone Cold era has begun, and
Michaels is booted.
Yes, and Triple H now starts the new DX. We're bringing back X-Pac and recruiting the New Age Outlaws, and we have the formation of the new DX, and they took it to a whole nother level with this new version of DX. Well, a lot further than we ever could have thought. Shawn Michaels.
How cool is X-Pac's life? How cool was his in that span? He's he's literally a part of two of the, if not the biggest factions of all time within months of each other?
Well, I mean, realistically, 2 weeks of each other, because he was on Nitro the week before, got fired, and then showed up on WWE and became a part of DX.
Dude, it's like, I mean, I've heard all the stories, like, just by listening to all the other, like, Bischoff's podcast and Waltman's podcast and all that. And I've heard the stories about how, it wasn't as good of money when he went back to WWF as it was in WCW and whatnot. But if you take the money out of it and you just call it for what it is and you don't put any of the business in there, it's pretty fucking cool. Like,
oh, yeah, absolutely.
It looks like he's living the best life ever. Oh, wait, I got fired from the NWO, only the hottest fucking faction that's ever come around. Oh, wait, I get to go back to WWF. But look at me. I'm in D-Generation X. What happens to be one of the other most hottest fucking commodity of factions to ever exist.
Not only that,
two of the top merch pushers of all, like, dude.
Period.
He's working it in.
Yeah.
I hope he's got royalties.
Well, that's the thing. And then he goes on to have even the singles. Well, if you want to call it singles, because he had his tag championship with Kane. He kept going. Once DX disbanded, he still had a pretty solid career after D-Generation X.
You know what I wonder? Not to get sidetracked like we never do, but I do wonder about how X-Pac how great he would be in this era. He wouldn't be able to say some of this. Well, not necessarily 100% true, but just the talent, because he was one of those
ahead of
guys.
his time. He was ahead of his time.
Like, he was almost like an innovator of offense of some sort, and he would have been great with a lot of the cruiser. Imagine X-Pac versus Enzo. How fucking crazy that would be. Like, I'm just pulling that out of my ass, but it's because I feel like that would be like a very good, like, first and last and a one-off type match. Because Enzo was always good on the mic.
Yeah, always.
Dog shit in the ring, but at least it would have been a good build.
Yes.
But so I figure X-Pac would have been able to carry him.
We'll move on, and we're going to continue with DX for at least the next couple. And it's DX invades WCW at the Scope.
It's got to be one of the, when you think of Monday Night Raw in that era, that's one of the first ones I think of.
Mm-hmm.
It really is, because those are one of the times that you flip back and forth, and you're just like, wait a minute, the fuck, and like that. That's one of those ones that I watched WWF programming for, because it was one of those like, get the fuck. And even let's put it this way. My dad had control of the remote. That was not my job, nor did I carry the clicker. That was not my responsibility, nor my privilege. That was my father's. So I watched whatever he kept on. And that so happened to be one of the things that we kept on. was the DX invasion of WCW. Because, fuck, we want to see what happens. We want to see if they get in.
Yes, which I think is the biggest draw to that moment is them getting there. And
It's
especially to the door. You see the door closing. So you're like, oh shit, they can really still get in.
They could get in and they could be all like the whole thing is like we could watch this and then flip over and they could somehow like be on that screen too. It never came out that way, but it would have been great.
And the story I love from the opposite side, and Bischoff has told it, and so has Kevin Nash, is Kevin and Scott being on the other side of that door, yelling at the operators to open it up because they wanted those guys to show up. And he was like, imagine what it would be like if you're watching Monday Night Raw and
who's carrying the ratings?
Yes, that's what I'm saying. Like, you imagine Kevin Nash and Scott Hall being on the TV on Monday Night Raw.
You're breaking remotes at that point because you're like, oh, what the fuck is going on? Like, if they both keep it on, if they both would have kept it on, they would have actually invaded. What would have fucking happened?
And that's the thing. It's the big what if. It's one of the biggest what ifs of that era. And even Bischoff looks back and goes, man, after that all went down and I was able to look at it, he said, I really, really fucking wish I would have said, just let them in. What are they going to do?
Got fucking fired anyway. If he would have drew like a 5, 6, 7 in that night, like what? How would anybody have said anything?
And Hunter and them are not going to beat up Scott Hall and Kevin Nash, and vice versa. They're just going to clown each other. Like, it's going to be good TV regardless.
It would have been a fight, but it would have been a lot of the
yeah. So the next one I will do, just because it made me laugh. Probably one of the hardest I've laughed at wrestling when I was a kid, and that is the DX Nation. And this is when the Nation dressed up and can't get away with it today, especially not X-Pac dressing in blackface as Mark Henry. But me as Mark Henry and Road Dogg as D'Lo Brown and Billy Gunn as Godfather. Oh, and then they had the kid who sounded exactly like Owen Hart as the Nugget.
I'm not a Nugget.
Like that. Oh my God. It was one of the greatest things I've ever seen. And
the funniest fucking part was the eyebrows. Fucking the eyebrows on Triple H.
Painted all the way the fuck up here. That I love when they can do comedy like that. You know what I mean? And like everybody gets it. The Nation got it. The Nation thought it was funny. Like, it's just one of those things. It's so great. And it's something underrated about pro wrestling that I don't think a lot of people look at or talk about enough. Is the type of comedy like that.
I think it's because it's changed. The landscape of the world has changed, and what's funny to some is not necessarily for there's louder people that don't find anything funny.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And comedy isn't really done anymore because of those people that will ruin it for the others that find things funny. I'm not saying that everything's funny, but sensitivity is a thing.
Yes. And especially like we said, X-Pac and blackface
wouldn't fucking fly
with that
I'm
either.
not saying do that again. I mean, obviously that fly.
Yeah. So I'll move on. We're still in 98, September of 98, and simply Zamboni 316.
I think that is the moment.
Really?
It's either that one or the other one.
Okay. That's why I said really, because I was surprised that that's what you said.
Because there's that, Vince's limo blowing up,
and
the beer truck. When I think like Stone Cold and that, and just not even pay-per-view, just TV, those are the three things that come to mind for me. And I probably just knocked off 3 things of your list. So if you want to just hit that curve, we just hit there.
So the beer truck is in March of 98 and 99. I'm sorry, 99. And that is right before WrestleMania 15 in Philly. Rock in the ring with Vince and Shane, and the beer bath, the fake swimming in the middle of the ring, the selling. It just
overselling is so fucking good.
It's so good.
Bad. It's so bad that it's so good.
It is everything that a teenager would want. Like, this dude got a beer truck and is squirting beer all over his boss, his rival.
Actually knew what the beer truck how it actually fired beer, and this was like a beer truck that was also a fire truck.
Yeah, yes. I didn't know beer trucks had fire hoses on them to shoot beer like that.
It's at this point where like this dude could literally do anything. He could literally do anything on this TV program. Mm-hmm. Literally, he's driven a truck to the ring several times now. And he could literally do anything, and then jumps over the top and just beats the hell out of everyone.
Yeah. I think, man, if
he was just so outlandish and outrageous that it was glue.
Believable. And that's the thing. Like, no one thought, oh, this is ridiculous. No, you believed it. And like him almost tearing down the fucking Tron as it flies after the truck hits it. Like, it's amazing the things that were believable just because it was like, yep, I believe you can do that. Yeah, that makes sense. Like, yeah, sure.
He's literally doing it.
Yeah, whatever.
I don't care if it was written in a script. It definitely whoever's brain thought this up definitely didn't look at it like this and be like, this is how it's going to turn out. No, it was magic.
This is definitely the Austin heavy part of this. So I'm going to go jump back to October. And we have the debut of Mr. Sacco. And even though at the time everybody thought it was a throwaway joke because you had the bedpan hitting McMahon in the head and Austin attacking him, just Foley trying to make McMahon laugh with a sock on his end. And Mr. Sacco, but I can't remember who told the story of the behind the scenes of this. And Foley even says, like, I don't think Mr. Sacco would have been anything, but it was that last line by McMahon after he kicks me out. And I walk out the room and the camera zooms in on McMahon and he just puts his head back, rolls his eyes, and goes, Mr. Sacco. Like, he's so annoyed by it that's what got Mr. Sacco over, was McMahon's reaction to it. And like, it's so classic and it's so stupid, but it's fucking hilarious. And that got him over the rest of his career. A sock in his fucking pants.
Is it the most iconic gimmick like that ever?
I think so.
Is it? Is it more iconic than the urn?
Oh, man. Huh. I think so. Honestly, I think so. The urn never got like the urn didn't get over like Mr. Sacco did. You know what I mean? Like, there weren't urn like signs. Like, there were Mr. Sacco signs all over forever.
They put a tag team.
Yeah, the Rock and Sock Connection. Like, I think Mr. Sacco might be one of the most over inanimate objects in WWE history, and the list is right behind it.
You think the list of Jericho?
I think the list of Jericho is up there. I mean, remember that run. And how many people wanted to be on the list and were on Twitter tagging Jericho wanting to be on the list, and the list was over as well. So I think that's up there with Sacco.
What about Head?
Head to a lesser degree. Like, I agree, but it didn't make it as far in WWE. Like, it was big in WWE, obviously, but
Mr. Sacco might be close to mainstream.
Yeah, I think so. All right, so we did Sacco.
What about Damien?
Damien's pretty good too. But again, I don't think it has the longevity of Sacco.
What about the 2x4?
Ooh. No, but no.
Sacco trumps the 2x4?
I think Sacco trumps the 2x4. I do.
I'm going to be throwing out a couple more.
Okay. As they just float into your head.
As they float into my head, I'm gonna, because I think I got the bulk of the like really popular ones out of the way, but I think I still feel like I'm missing them.
I feel like you are too, and I can't think of any off the top of my head right now.
Brett's Shades.
Breast shades are cool, but I still don't think they match up with Sako.
They don't trump Sako. Interesting.
All right, next one.
What about Honky Tonk Man's guitar?
No. Mm-mm.
What about the Dudley Boys tables? I think that's lesser as well.
Lesser as well. Yeah. Good saying, but still less than Sako. Because it's more about the saying than it is the table itself. Devon get the tables. It's more about that than it is the actual table itself.
All right, but how about this? The $1 million belt.
Ooh. I think it belongs in the conversation, but I wouldn't put it over Sako.
I'm not even going to bring up the fucking stupid snake thingy.
The Cobra?
Yeah.
Although I thought that was funny. Yeah, I don't think it makes it either. Where was I at? I think it got me lost. So yeah, staying in October. Not long after that, McMahon's.
I got one.
All right.
Flair's robe.
Oh yeah, Flair's robe might top that. Yeah, because it's. I mean, it's everything. It's the robe. I mean, they're talking like 50 years. Like the robe might be number one, but.
All right, I'm interested to see if a few people grab this and they're like, "No, this is it. No, this is it. What about this?" I want to hear them.
Yes,
because I'm going to end it with Flair's robe, but continue with what you were saying.
Next one, McMahon's cement Corvette. Again, another example of Austin being able to drive anything with wheels.
Literally doing anything. Just let him operate heavy machinery.
Yes.
Just let him do it. Because this is what's going to fucking help the ratings.
Yes. You get gold. Yeah.
It's just Austin in there just think of something crazy that he would probably do if he got tagged up. Oh, well, you'd probably drive a cement truck and fill a fucking Corvette with cement. I
can't remember what museum or where it is, but I can't remember if it was like the Hard Rock in LA. I can't remember if it was the Smithsonian. Some pop museum has McMahon's Corvette with the concrete in it. I can't remember where, but I remember hearing that they donated it, and it is part of pop culture. Somewhere, some museum has this Corvette filled with cement, and I would love to fucking find it and see it, because that would be really, really cool to see that Corvette.
Picture on top of it.
Yeah. Next one again. Bang 316.
When he pisses himself?
Yes. Yes. And I remember specifically, this is one of those to where I don't think I moved from my TV for 2 hours during this episode of Raw, because they would just keep checking in and him taking Vince around, and you didn't know where he was going, what he was going to do with Vince. And it all led to the end of the night where him rolling him down in his wheelchair and standing him up and putting that gun to his head. And like, there's a part of you going, what the fuck is he really, like, what is that gun real? Like, there's no way that gun's real. Like, it's like the Pillman thing that we were talking about last episode. It's like, this dude is not going to kill him on national TV. And then the Bang 316 comes out and he stands him up and he has piss all down his pants. And I fully believe, knowing McMahon, he pissed his pants. Like, he went all out and pissed his pants. I fully, because that's the way Vince is. If it's for business and it works, I think it is what it is. And I fully believe he did.
Hey, man, that's one of those secrets that will go to the grave.
Mm-hmm.
Kayfabe was alive and well.
So next one, and another one of those things, as far as the Monday Night Wars, where people switched over and they could almost tell by the minute it happened in the ratings, and that is when Mankind wins the WWE Championship in January of '99.
There's a visitor here.
Did
you hear him?
No, I haven't heard him. No.
He's just meowing at me.
That is also the night where Shivani gets told to say that Mankind wins the WWE Championship, and that'll put a lot of butts in seats. To which everyone switched over and watched Mankind win the WWE Championship.
Yeah, that was kind of a swing and a miss on WWF or WCW's part.
Yeah. Yeah, still one of my favorite Raw moments, period.
I mean, just the pop for Austin alone.
Yes. Yeah. And we talked about that a couple episodes ago about Pops and Austin Pops. And I still believe that is the loudest Austin Pop I've ever heard. In comparison, you know what I mean? Like, obviously, relative to stadiums and all that, God, I think it's number one.
I'd love to know the decibel level for those fucking pops.
Yes, I agree. Because
I want to know if it registered. Because I know certain things have registered in like sports. Like I know for the Phillies fucking World Series that when they were at home, that registered.
Yes.
Like I think it was Penn's fucking earthquake center or whatever the fuck it was. It registered.
Yeah, wasn't people who had the Apple Watches? It said that if you continue to stay in this area with this decibel, you will have hearing loss. Like people were taking pictures of their Apple Watches, and it showed the message. That's how fucking loud that stadium was. To where, yes, I agree. I think that pop is one of those that probably could have did that as well.
You just didn't have a watch to tell you to stop to fucking put your hands in your ears like this.
Yeah, no, not at all.
We all have hearing loss thanks to Stone Cold Steve Austin.
Yes. So we got the beer truck. That would have been next. All right, so I'm going to skip down to June. And this is probably my favorite non-Shawn Michaels storyline in WWE history, and that is the higher power being revealed.
It was me. It was me all along.
I thought it was a great swerve. I don't know if people now, if that led to McMahon being it, if people would dig it like everyone did then. But I thought it was fucking amazing. Everything that the nuance in that storytelling, or having his daughter abducted and all of that was such a good fucking storyline. The teddy bear on fire and him dropping down to his knees in front of the Undertaker. And I remember it. That storyline is burned in my memory. And that reveal of him being the higher power, it was one of the greatest things I've ever seen. One of the greatest things I've ever seen still.
Well, here's the thing. Today, it wouldn't register like that because, A, it would have been spoiled by someone. Someone would have found out, and it would have been spoiled. There would have been way too many. You would have had to have only lived in the moment. You couldn't, and no surroundings. You would have had to live in a bubble.
Yes.
For it to register the same, which nobody does.
Yeah.
There's always someone saying something like, "Oh, I bet you it's him," and they turn out being right. You're like, "God damn it! How did they know? How did they know?" But yeah, I mean, that was just like a time where you didn't need, like, they didn't need to be like a big reveal or someone new or anything like that. All it had to be was McMahon, and that's another reason why it wouldn't register today, because people there's too many people that just want to see something new all the time, like a debut or something like that. It didn't need to be that. Didn't need to be for it to land because, like you already said, the storyline. The storyline was there, so it didn't need to be someone new. It was perfect.
Yes, yeah. So we'll move on a couple months later into August, and probably one of your favorite moments of all time in Monday Night Raw history, and that is the debut of Y2J.
So that whole Millennium Clock thing, this was your perfect storm.
Mm-hmm.
This was your perfect storm. You had the biggest name and the flag bearer at the time, The Rock, and you had a debut, of Chris Jericho, and a guy that had hopped over from WCW, who never really got his dues. Who was last we saw him, he was trying to call out Goldberg.
Yeah,
and he had fucking his security team with him,
Ralphus.
Yeah, I really wish he would have brought Ralphus with him, but. That's a different story for a different day. But no, I mean, it was the perfect storm. I could go back and watch that anytime, anytime, if I want to laugh, because it's hysterical. It's fucking great. It's great TV. The fucking and what is your name? It doesn't matter what. Oh my god, every fucking time. Literally.
And the facials by Jericho are priceless when The Rock gets him. Yeah, that's the one I'm talking about.
Yeah.
That facial is just so fucking good. And his stupid fucking haircut with the Pebbles fucking ponytail, like everything about it.
Overly glittered fucking sparkly fucking jacket. It was fucking great.
It was.
It was great. It was fucking it probably it might be my favorite Raw moment.
I wouldn't be surprised for you because I know that's
really,
up there.
It really might be.
That's just 2 of your favorites all time.
Two of my favorites on the mic of all time. Two of my favorites if I just want to sit down and watch and just be. I don't even want to watch the match. I just want to be entertained.
Mm-hmm.
Those are the two that I'll go to.
Yeah,
like they're not the two that I go to. I mean, Jericho can hold his own, not now, but he could hold his own in the ring. And The Rock was good. The Rock was serviceable. The Rock was The Rock. But I went for him because of promo ability and keeping me entertained and basically making me laugh.
Yeah.
Because the shit that they said was ridiculous and it was hysterical.
Yep.
And that was one of those ones that you flick over and you flick over at the right time because for some reason it was always great timing. They were never like as much as they were at war. There was a lot of times where you'd be like, "Oh, we changed the channel. Oh shit, the fucking clock's back," and you get to sit there and watch it live.
Mm-hmm.
It's the beauty part of our childhood.
We will continue with The Rock, and September, not long after that Y2J debut, we will have The Rock. This Is Your Life, which again, I think I don't think it's been topped, but as I think the highest rated segment in Raw history is The Rock. This Is Your Life, which is ridiculous. It's ridiculous.
It's absurd. It's exactly what it is. It's the absurdity of the whole fucking thing. That's another one. It's just fucking the facial expressions there are just fucking
the countless characters that you had no idea who they were. Got a bunch of actors to play these random people in The Rock's life. Again, another moment where Mr. Sacco and he came out and he brought The Rock his own Sacco. Like it built and built and built, and it was just everything was better than the thing before it. Like everything. It just I don't know how it worked. And they tried it. Remember, they tried it a couple more times.
Oh,
and they failure every time they did it.
You have the perfect storm of people and you put them in the ring and it's just magic. Mm-hmm. And it's never going to be topped. As many times as you try to duplicate things.
Yeah.
There's very few sequels that are better than the original. Let's put it that way. And I'm just talking about movies, but it also applies to this as well. There's very few sequels that are actually, and I can't think of any sequels that I like more than the originals of even movies.
I can, but
Ghostbusters 2 maybe.
That was one that immediately came to my head, and I actually like Bad Boys 2 better than Bad Boys.
I'm teetering between Home Alone 1 and 2.
I can't put Home Alone 2 over Home Alone 1. No way.
The lines go. They go toe to toe with each other.
It's thin. I'll give you that. It's a very thin line.
And I've always been teetering, but I think I lean more towards the original Ninja Turtles over Secret of the Ooze.
I agree.
Yeah. I just like the darkness of the original.
Mm-hmm.
And I like the original fucking how the turtles look. Yes. They got too cartoony in the second one. Yeah. I don't like how Raph looked in the second one. But that's a different story for a different day.
Way different. All right, so
This Is Your Life.
Let's skip to November of '99, and this one I want to know if you'll click right away when I say it. It's titled "What Happens in Vegas."
Oh, is this the Triple H and Stephanie where they get married and she's fucking assed out in the bucket?
Yes. Yeah, I mean, it's always great to have, him drug her and have her married against her will that she doesn't know about. That's a great segment, but it worked.
The shit that they could get away with. I mean, and the fucking Triple H is one of the biggest ones that pushed the fucking envelope of that TV rating.
Yeah, Yeah, well, at that point, TV rating was out the fucking window. But
Yeah.
I mean, that's
There's
still
room.
again, wrestling weddings never fucking work in the end, ever. And that was another one where Test and Stephanie were going to get married, and they had it all in the ring. And then if anyone has Just Cause and the Triple H music hits and he comes out and the line that always got me really, really good was, the question isn't if, it's how many times did we consummate the marriage? That always got me every single time. Again, that's another one of those. And that then begins the McMahon Helmsley era, because you have that storyline, and then all of a sudden she turns on Vince, and then she falls in love with Hunter, and that was...
And it kind of happened in real life, didn't it?
Yeah. Yeah. So let's see. We'll go past that. All right. So now we're going to effectively end the Monday Night War. March 26, 2001, Shane McMahon purchasing WCW. Yeah. Yeah. In quotation marks, of course. But the name on the contract does say McMahon, but it just says Shane McMahon. Epic, historic moment in TV, especially for wrestling, obviously, having Vince McMahon show up on Turner's TNT on Monday night and saying he owns WCW. I literally have chills thinking about it, because it was one of those things you never ever thought was going to happen.
I don't have chills. It was a very sad day. It was.
I'm sure, as a WCW fan, I'm sure I couldn't even imagine. You know what I mean?
It was very. It's bitter. It's still a bitter taste in my mouth after all that. It was. I didn't want to believe it, and I kind of had animosity towards WWF at the time. At that one, like, it kind of jaded me a little bit. I'm like, man, because one, Sting wasn't going there, so I had no way to watch Sting anymore, which sucked ass. So I was kind of like, man, this fucking sucks. My favorite wrestler, I can't watch on TV weekly. Fucking this guy put him out of business. It fucking sucks.
And it did. And the thing is, it did suck. It did suck because it took the competition away. And it definitely made WWE. Now, the Ruthless Aggression era was very, very good now. But at the time, everyone talks about it differently now. At the time, I don't remember a lot of people loving what was going on. I didn't remember a lot of people loving the creative that they were doing in Ruthless Aggression. Like, it was very few and far between. And look, me and you have said it as well. We fell off when Ruthless Aggression into the PG era, like, because it was just, there was a point where you were like, nah, man, I can't do it.
Yeah, it was probably 05. I think it was 4 or 5 years that I was out. It was like 04 to 08 or 09 or I forget. I think I came. No, I want to say I came back to wrestling like 09 or 2010. So yeah, I mean, but that all has to do with age and,
of course,
what I was doing and everything like that. But yeah, I mean, the Attitude Era was where it was at. This span that we're covering, the Raws were absolutely insane. The wrestling product in itself was fucking at an all-time high. Well, probably, I can say this with some utter confidence, we'll never reach that popularity ever again.
No, I agree.
No matter how many people think that there's a war between AEW and WWE, there's what the people either they fail to remember, because a lot of the people that are fucking AEW fans were WWF fans back then. And how
if they were even alive.
Yeah, well, that's what I'm saying. The ones that are our age, either they didn't watch and they didn't get it, or they watched and they watched through fucking beer goggles and they didn't get the fact that was the peak. That was the peak of fucking sports entertainment / wrestling.
Yeah,
it will never be topped again. It just won't. You're
not going to have 8 to 9 to 10 million people watching wrestling. You're not going to do it. You're not
going to have 8 to 9 to 10 mega stars.
Yeah.
Mega top fucking merchandise. Like, it was cool to wear a fucking Steve Austin shirt to fucking school. It was cool to wear an NWO Wolfpack shirt to fucking school. Like, Cena was probably the last one, last big merch guy that, like, but again, that was geared towards kids. You weren't going to see fucking teenagers wearing Cena shit to school. Not many, at least.
Yeah.
To the point of where, like, you're not going to get made fun of.
No, you're right.
You weren't getting made fun of. Like, it was just, like, it was cool.
The PG era, I feel, made it uncool to be a wrestling fan again. Like, it was that early 90s to where, like, it was still uncool. And then the mid 90s to late 90s hit, and it was cool to wear wrestling shirts. And then, like, even the Ruthless Aggression, you still had a lot of the guys, you still had The Rock still there, you still had some of the guys still left. But then, like, come mid to late 2000s, it wasn't cool to be a wrestling fan again. Like, it just wasn't.
No. Not like it was in the era that we're talking about.
No. Absolutely
you can still wear. The cool thing is that you can still wear those shirts today. They're worth more money now, but you can wear those shirts today, and all of your fucking you can find the wrestling fans out in the wild.
Yeah, out in the wild
that were fans back then because they'll say something.
Yes,
or or if you're wearing a fucking NWO T-shirt to the gym and you have someone come up to you and fucking too sweet you in the middle of your set, that's happened as well to me.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, that's cool. I'd like that.
Yeah,
I like finding the wrestling fans out in the fucking wild.
I agree. Because, again, like we've said, unless you see someone wearing that shirt, no one appears to be a wrestling fan. And then all of a sudden, you're wearing one, and someone comes over to you and goes, yo, nice shirt. You immediately know, wrestling fan. Gotcha. Like, it's a cool feeling.
I wore my Eddie Guerrero, my Latino Heat fucking barbecue or a hot sauce fucking shirt.
Mm-hmm.
And some fucking, he's probably like 40 in his mid 40s. He goes, I really like that shirt. I was like, hey man, I was like, yeah, pro wrestling tees. I don't recommend them, but it is a cool shirt.
Let's see. So where are we at? All right, we got WCW. Another one of those, and it's not better than the original, but it is a sequel, and it was still pretty cool, is Milkamania. Right? I mean, look, it doesn't beat the original, but the thing. It's pretty cool.
When it comes to Kurt Angle and you look at his track record of, like, backstage and promos and stuff, he's fucking great. Like, he makes almost anything work. And he's got some of the best segments that I like. Like, I told you this. Sexy Kurt is one of my favorites. Is one of my all-time favorite skits. It's so stupid that it's hilarious. It is. It's just fucking hysterical.
It is. Absolutely.
Having Sensational Cherry do it with him it's even better.
Mm-hmm.
But, I mean, I look at Kurt Angle, I'm like, I like everything he does. Like, Kurt Angle was never my favorite, but I never disliked Kurt Angle. I always thought he was 100% solid in everything that he did.
Yeah, and Milkamania, the cool thing about that, obviously the milk truck and a milk truck with a fire hose on it. I don't know how they found that as well. And you're doing it to the guy who did the beer truck. This was Steve Austin Appreciation Night with the Alliance, and they're all in the ring appreciating Stone Cold, and he comes out, and that also Stephanie was in the ring for that one, and douses the Alliance with milk as he takes 2 cartons and slams them together and guzzles it. Like, it was great. It was, again, not as great as the original, but still pretty good.
Definitely good.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
It's definitely one of those gray areas where you're like, man, it depends on how old you were at that point. Some people might be straight edge. They might have liked fucking Milkamania better.
You're right. So all right. So remember, I said I was looking at some of these moments before we got on the show.
Yeah, you did some homework. You researched.
Yeah. So this one, January of 2002. So we've gone almost to the end. Like, we have one more after this. So this one better not be better than the one that you're saving for the last one. No, I don't think it is. I guess it really is a matter of opinion. Triple H returning after 7 months from his quad in Madison Square Garden.
That pop was fucking crazy.
There is three separate pops, and I feel like it got progressively louder, which you don't think is going to happen when you hear the first one. So they are promoting this return all night on this Raw. And it's the final segment. So I watch it, and they go to commercial saying Triple H returns next. They do the segment, his music hits, and the pop is gigantic. Then he comes through the curtain, it got even fucking bigger. Then he gets to on the canvas, puts his arms up, and it was even fucking bigger. Like, I was like, how did they get louder? Like, it was ridiculous. And they probably cheered for 2.5 to 3 minutes nonstop. He went to every corner, I think at least twice, then got the mic, went to put the mic up to his mouth, and they got even louder, and he had to put the mic down. They were chanting Triple H. Like, for people that say and put Triple H down a lot, this dude, you talk about over, like, Triple H, man, there wasn't another guy that was more hated and then switched it to being more loved than Triple H.
That's the best part of wrestling, is that when you're so hated and you finally turn good, like, it's easy.
Mm-hmm.
We love to hate you, but we love to love you.
Mm-hmm.
And if you're at that magnitude, it makes it that much simpler.
It works phenomenal.
It works for certain people.
You're right. Yes.
He was he was a good guy, but he was a great heel.
But yeah, he was definitely a better heel by far. Like, it's not even close. But I mean, when he comes back and like that was, God, it was so good. It was so good. I'm listening again. I'm waiting for you to come on, so I have these on, and I turned the volume way up because obviously I knew there was a pop coming. I turned the volume up as loud as it could go, and I'm just waiting for it. And you can really hear. Obviously, these headphones are pretty good, so the bass in this is really good. Man, the noise level, and just JR and King laid out for the most part. Like, they said a couple things, but laid out and just let you hear the pop and hear the crowd and feel the crowd. And
that's crazy.
It's so good.
It's crazy how you know it's coming, and I guess it's one of those things where anticipation is just fucking at an all-time high.
Yeah,
so
absolutely.
It beats I guess it beats a surprise. Like,
yeah, because you just build and build and build. You know it's coming. It's to that fever pitch to where it's finally time, and you just, oh God,
everyone just loses their shit for minutes on end.
So the last one we will end with is in July of 2002, and it's something that I don't think wrestling fans thought they would see, and it's titled Worlds United. And it's when Bischoff is hired by Vince McMahon and they hug atop the ramp. Something that obviously wrestling fans, WCW and WWE fans, never thought you would see. Yes. And money plays a big role in that. And it was weird.
The $1 Million Man knew.
Yes.
Everybody's got a price.
That is true. Everybody has a price.
Just living the Vince McMahon life, basically.
Yes.
If Vince McMahon were a gimmick, an actual gimmick, he would have just been the $1 Million Man.
Yeah. Yeah, the $1 billion man, really.
Well, yeah.
With Vince. But yeah,
now he's the sideline man.
Yeah. So that ends.
Still worth a couple billion though.
Yeah, I think so. I think so. It's safe to say. That ends.
So many good royalties.
Oh yeah. So we're done with 2002. So now we got 03, 04, 05, 06, 07. So 03 to 07. We got
ruthless aggression.
Yes. Yeah. So there's a lot. This will be a cool one for us because, like we said, we dropped off in that era for the most part. Obviously, it's going to be heavy John Cena.
You got Brock.
Oh, don't get me wrong. I know, but you got
Biker Taker.
Yes, you got Biker Taker. You got Rey Mysterio, who dominates in that era. You got a wrestler. You have Edge coming out as the Rated R superstar. You have Chris Benoit. You have Eddie Guerrero. There is a lot.
You got Mattitude.
Yes, one of my well, until Broken Matt came around, my favorite version of Matt Hardy was version 1.
Epic storyline and whatnot that takes place on. You're gonna have a lot of raunchy shit, actually.
Yeah, a lot. I think a lot better than I anticipated because I did look at some of the moments, and yeah, it's a little bit better than I remembered.
I'm interested. I'm intrigued. I'm excited for next week.
That's good. So, I wanted to tell you, I watched. I don't know if you've seen the ad for it, but the Ric Flair documentary on Peacock.
I saw the ad for it. I didn't watch it.
I watched it. It was hour and a half, I think, or hour and 40 minutes, give or take.
Anything new?
There's some new, like he found out what his real name was. Don't ask me what it is. I can't remember what he said because he said it at the very beginning, and there was a lot of information to take in. But he found out his real name for like the first time ever in his life, and he only found it out like 2 months ago, what his birth name was.
It's fucking weird.
You didn't know he was adopted?
No.
Yeah, Ric Flair. I knew that, but Ric Flair was adopted. Like his parents put him up for adoption, and the people that adopted him, he had their name. That Richard Flair is their name. They gave him that way in his real birth name.
How do you just find that out now?
He found I forget how he found out, but and he also found out he has a brother, obviously that he never knew about. So like his wife did a bunch of, I guess, checking and looking around, and she found this out.
She did the grunt work,
I guess. But no, it actually is really good. There is still a lot of good information, a lot of new stuff. Is it produced
by WWE?
It's a WWE documentary. Yes.
Yeah, I'm not surprised that it's good then.
Yeah, but it's very good, and it goes into a lot of his medical, like the medical issues he did and stuff like that.
Yeah.
It's very well done. It talks a lot about his son Reed passing. It obviously talked to Charlotte and her leading his dream on. But yeah, it's very, very well done. It hooked Jamie into it, so she was hooked into it as well. That? Yeah, so you get a non-wrestling fan like that to get buy-in. It was actually really good. So if you get a chance, definitely
watch. Put that on the list.
Yes, for sure. Yeah, definitely watch that. So yeah, that's it. So until next week when we cover 03 to 07, we hope you enjoyed the show, the Attitude Era, and now moving on to Ruthless Aggression. Thank you for watching, and we'll be talking to you very soon.